touch your dick a little bit.
A pussy.
Can I
A
see
pussy.
the
I mean
The
the
gr- they want to see
Kind of dick is
the dick.
that?
Who wants to see the dick?
You know, when
We
time-
make out.
It just depends on.
Bum, 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 bum. Welcome back to another Manpisode. Once again, here I am. We're going to continue working down this list of 100 things you should know about men. It's going to take me a while to get through this list, so just be patient every week for these episodes, and I'm going to try to do my best to get them out as fast as possible. But in the meantime, I'm going to try to see if I can squeeze in a few different topics here and there. And while I do these, because, 100 things is a lot of things. And to go into each separate thing in a way where I can give enough information and enough perspective for it to be useful to anyone who's listening to it. That takes time, and, have some patience. So getting right into it is the next one I wanted to touch on is getting compliments. Guys like getting compliments. It doesn't matter what it is, and I don't think most guys take compliments well. Like we tend to get a little bit like, ooh, me, like, ooh, like you said I'm cute, or like, oh, you said that I'm good at something. Like, oh my God, like I can't believe you just said that. Like, how naughty are you? And I think partly because it's like maybe at some level men are being taken, they take each other for granted, and especially for male relationships. Male relationships technically are at best toxic. Like we tend to put each other down. We tend to bully each other, and that's how we show affection. That's how we show camaraderie. Camaraderie. I'm not saying it correctly, but you might know what I'm talking about. That's how we share friendship. That's how we share relationships. It's through negative bullying. It's through negative. It's negative because from the outside perspective, it might really look like, whoa, like you guys should not be doing that. But amongst ourselves, we tend to encourage it. We tend to like it. However, from the opposite sex, it's different. We don't want that. From the opposite sex, what we want is compliments. Oh, that's a nice shirt. Oh, I know. I just got this shirt. Thank you. Like, I thought it was cute too. We want compliments, and sometimes we don't know how to behave when we get those compliments, right? But we like getting compliments because we are all sometimes deep down are not sure about ourselves. We don't know if that shirt was nice. We don't know if we look nice. In the same way as some females have self-conscious about their looks, about their, their hair or their skin color, whatever, it's dry skin. We have it too. And oftentimes if we don't have a stream of compliments letting us know and helping us boost our self-esteem, oftentimes we don't know our self-worth, and it was hard to evaluate where we stand amongst our peers and our community members. So it's oftentimes to really know that you should give a compliment. I mean, you got to be careful with the compliment to it, but just because you give a compliment to a man doesn't automatically seem that they, that you automatically like them sexually or you want them sexually. It just means that, nice shirt, cool. And most men will be like, oh, wow, thank you. Now, don't get me wrong. Some men, you give a compliment to, they'll be like, what? You paying attention to me? And they might interpret. Wow, I'm doing terrible. My English is not working today. They might confuse that with a pickup line, right? Because they're not used to that. So they might inquire more. Like, wait, you talking to me? What about the shirt? And he might buy another shirt that looks like it. So it might go out of control, whatever. But so, you just use your caution. Just don't just do it to anyone. You don't go in the street, don't go meet in the middle of the street with a goddamn stranger and be like, "Hey, nice shirt." Although that may really make his day. Like I think that's happened to me maybe a handful of times where I'm outside and someone would just say, "Oh, you look sharp, nice," and I'm like, that whole day would be I would feel like $1 million. I remember, maybe second, third, maybe fifth job interview that I've ever had. I wore a suit and I'm in the train, and this older lady at the time, I was maybe mid-20s. She just kind of looked over, and it was very like a Hallmark moment. It was very, very, very like Hallmark, Lifetime, like something you see in the movies. She just looked over and she was like, "You look really nice." And that's it. That's all she said. And she can just turn back around and just mind her business. And I just, the whole time I'm standing there like, mind you, I'm in New York City for that matter. Like, I was sitting there like, wait, people in New York City talk to each other? Like, I've never seen that in my life. So having this lady tell me this, it was just like, man, I didn't get the job, but I felt great. I went in there, like I could have gone in there without pants, and I would have felt like $1 million. That's how great compliments are, and we are just as we desire them as much as any woman out there and any person out there. So the next thing is, moving on to the next one is that we're not machines. As much as you think we are, as much as you think that your man is unfallible or unflappable or very dependable, and we have our moments. We get sick. We can be goofy and stuff like that, but we get scared. Like, mice scare us. Tarantulas scare us. That doesn't mean we're not going to protect you. You better run when we run. That's all I mean. And we might just turn back around and grab you by your hair and pull you with us. Because it's not that it's not that we're not afraid. It's just that we are just a little more. We prioritize safety over certain things, and we sometimes act before thinking. And being courageous in certain situations does not mean that you're not scared. Case in point, you pick a fight and you get into altercation. Maybe it's like a road rage situation where having the mind to say, you know what, babe, like, let's get out of here. I don't want to deal with this shit. It's not that we're scared or we're weak. It's just that we know that the situation is not a situation to be in. And we may not be sure of ourselves. We may be scared. We may be at that moment feeling sick. And to know that just because I'm 3 inches, 5 inches, 6 inches tall on you does not make me a god. That I should at any moment be available to you 24/7, never get sick. And let me actually say a personal story about that. Like, when I get sick. Like, it could be it could be like a little cold. Like a little cold. And I will feel like complete and utter shit. Like the whole nine. My skin hurts. Like the act of touching my skin like brings me great pain. And so when I get sick, I get under the covers and I start moaning and like, and Rosie, does her best not to ignore me because she feels like I'm acting up, and it's not. It's just I feel like complete shit. But she takes good care of me during those times because I don't get sick often, so it's very it balances itself out a little bit. But just know that if you guys are one of those guys that's like very macho man, and he always takes out the garbage, and he always kills the spiders, and he kills the rats, and he always does that. Just know that does not make us impervious. You know, you don't know what the hell's running through that guy's mind. He might be like, God damn, I gotta go kill that spider again. God, and he might have to like work up that courage and work up that, that just overall like that fuck you at mentality just to get rid of this shit. So this relates to compliment. The first topic, right? Giving compliments. When you see someone doing something for you, don't take it for granted. Just be like, damn, babe, thank you. That shit was awesome. Like, you did that shit. You did it good. And it relates to each other, right? It bounces off each other. And it might encourage us to do that shit again more often, right? And not taking us for granted and not taking us, as like, well, machines. It feeds off each other. So just keep that in mind. The next topic is I think there's a perception that men don't want to be romantic, or that we don't care about that kind of stuff. And I think that's a big misconception, because I think women in my opinion, all right, this is all my opinion, obviously. This is why it's called flattering thoughts. Shitty thoughts. My shitty thought on this is the fact that me and Rosie has spoken about this as well. Like, oh, why don't you take me out on dates? Oh, why don't you buy me flowers? Oh, why don't we, remember that teddy bear you used to buy me? You haven't bought me a teddy bear in a while. And it's not that I'm not romantic. If anything, I'm more romantic than she is. It's just that it gets to a certain point in any relationship where you kind of grow out of that kind of stuff. You kind of grow out of like, you want me to buy your a teddy bear? Like, we were like 16 back then. You was like 18. I barely had I bought you a $300 pair of Ugg boots. Like, why do you want a teddy bear? You want another pair of boots? I'll buy you another pair of boots if that's, you graduate. You like, the gifts are no longer teddy bears. And this is facade in society that there's only some objects in this world that are considered romantic. Flowers, candlelight dinner, candlelight bath with petals, the color red, everything that has to do with Valentine's Day, basically, hearts and all that crap, like chocolate, melted wax. But these things are like symbols of romance, and in reality, it's not. It's bullshit. It's bullshit that you've been fed. It's bullshit you've been fed. Men are romantic, but our level of romantic is a more practical level. I'll make you a sandwich right when I know you're hungry. When I cook something, I'll make just enough so you can eat off my plate and don't make me starve. I guarantee you, every husband out there who has this type of woman and has this type of wife that loves to eat off his plate, he always buys more food than he needs, or when he cooks more food than he will eat. Why? Because he knows that she will. Ooh, what's that, babe? Let me get some. Can I get a bite or two? He knows that this is gonna happen. So I'm not gonna make a big fuss about it. I'm just gonna prepare more food. That's for us is romance, because we're thinking about you. We love you. We doing everything we can to make you happy. And if you want that, if you want to spend that money on that trip, we'll do it. No problem. You want to drive 4 hours? No problem. We'll drive 4 hours. But that's what romance does. We are doing it for you. It's not the stereotypical society shit about, oh, we're not giving you flowers and blah, 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 blah. It's our own different flavor and our own mixture of it. And just know that your definition of romance is not his. And I think you have to have that conversation that's like, this is what I define as romance. What did you define as romance? And where can we meet in the middle? Like, can you make me a set? Like, women always want, and I think I'm bashing women a little bit, but that's okay because this is a Manpisode. I feel like it's always a one-way street when it comes to romance. When's the last time you romanced your husband? When's the last time you romanced your boyfriend? When's the last time you gave him an impromptu blowjob? That's romantic as fuck for us. Just an impromptu one, right after work, when it's a little saucy down there. That's for us is ultimate. When's the last time you just randomly made us a sandwich or randomly made us a steak? Or whatever that guy likes. I don't know. I'm just saying like the two stereotypical meals that men like. Sandwiches and steak. And if you make them a steak sandwich, that's like awesome. So when's the last time you did something like that? Because it's very easy to turn around and say, well, he's never romantic with me. He's never buy me flowers. He never buys me this. And then you turn around and be like, so what have you done? Well, I did his laundry. Which, don't get me wrong. You surprised me by doing my laundry without me letting me know. I'd be super ecstatic. I'm like, that's fucking awesome. Got a fresh pair of underwear? Like, yes. Got new, fresh socks? Yes. But even though doing someone's laundry is awesome, there is a certain level of like, imagine how you would feel if, for us, if our level of romance is to do your laundry. Even though you probably would never trust us. I think men are not trusted. At least I'm not. I wouldn't speak general for every man out there. Because I'm sure some men out there would do the laundry really good. I'm not trusted in my household to do the laundry. I'm supervised the entire time. I'm not allowed to fold her underwear. Because I do not fold well. Underwear. We're not talking about shirts here. Underwear. The 2 pieces of linen. Like it's like 2 pieces of cloth. I am not allowed to fold this stuff. So, to each their own. Moving right along. So this goes back to the machine thing a little bit. You shouldn't put down or you shouldn't smack someone down when they're trying to show you emotion. If we are feeling vulnerable, whether it's a sensitive topic or something that's emotionally fucking with us, and we are trying to open up to you, let us do it. Let us go on this path with you. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to try to smack us down and like, oh, you being a bitch. Oh, why you being, oh, you crazy. And like trying to almost like try not to justify the emotion that we're feeling. Instead, you can just sit there and listen. And just listen to what we're talking. Comfort us. You shouldn't assume like shit you see on TV, whether it's TV, fucking whatever show or a movie, is what you think a man is. Like, this goes to like the whole cheating thing. Just because every goddamn romantic movie or every movie about men, you see man that always has like 3 girls and then he goes home and he fucks another girl and then all of a sudden he has another girl in the next episode, and before he realizes he has pregnant with 5 women out there. Not all men are cheaters. Not men are not all cheaters. You can't assume certain things about this man or your man or the man or a man to assume that they are who they are. Just take them for who they are, one step at a time. If you start generalizing, and for any type of people out there, whether they're gay or if they're Republicans or they're Democrats, if you start assuming everything about these about a culture of people or a cluster of people, things about them, you're gonna make some grave mistakes. Because you're assuming you're not meeting every individual for who they are. People are complicated. People are a mixture of a lot of different things, and you have to take that into consideration when you're talking to them. Men are no different. Men will vary from men to men. We have some overlaying similarities because women have those too. For example, you have 2 arms. Oh, yeah, we're similar. 2 arms. 2 legs. Yeah. Oh my God. We're almost the same. How many heads do you have? 1? We're identical. But we're not. We're nothing alike. We're nothing alike. So take that into consideration when you're dealing with your significant other, to know that if they're trying to open up, to go along with that journey. Don't dismiss them. Don't walk away. Don't, whatever, man, you're getting crazy, whatever. You know, maybe they might be overreacting, right? But, you know, that it might be affecting them differently. It might. And if we're quiet, it doesn't mean we're angry. Unless it's, you know, it's just that person's like passive aggressive or something. But for the most part, when we're quiet, we're calculating. We're like thinking. Like, it takes a, you know, I can't multitask for shit. So I can't think and also speak. And most of the time when I speak, I don't think. It shit comes just flying out my mouth. Then I have to kind of regroup, like, wait, what the fuck did I just say? Okay, and then I fucking speak. Like, I prepare 2-3 sentences ahead of time to speak. So quiet doesn't always mean angry. It might just mean that they're thinking. And family, this gets complicated because depending on the person's value systems, a man's family is very a sensitive topic to them. As fucked up as they may be, oftentimes hearing you talk ill about their family does not make them feel good. And oftentimes only puts you in a negative light in their eyes. Because it's like, why are you talking about them that way? Even though you might be right. Even though what you're saying, it just hits different. It hits different. Like we could be talking about the same crackhead or drug addict cousin. And I can tell you every day, oh, he's smoking again. Oh my God, he's just OD. And then when you turn around, and then if you turn around and just say like, oh, that crackhead cousin, I'm gonna be like, wait, why are you saying that? Why are you saying it that way? It sounds so much worse. Because again, we're human. We're not any different. We're not any different. And for the love of God, if we do open up to you, just let us. Just let us. That's a good thing. You're getting that much closer to that person, that man. You're getting, he trusts you enough to open up and tell you what the fuck is happening to him. So just go along with the journey. He's not asking you to help him. He's not asking you to solve his problems. What he's asking you is to listen. So let him. Just listen. So moving this train along. By the way, I'm so happy having heard not one siren so far in this recording. That is awesome so far. New York City has, I guess it's just quiet night tonight. So the next one is I personally hate these type of movies because it's like the only type of movie that me and Rosie can agree to watch. But it's romantic comedies, rom-coms. I fucking hate those things. Because they always are so cliche. Very cliche. It's like a cookie cutter where every fucking producer, every goddamn script writer, everyone who makes these type of movies follows that same structure. And sometimes they start from the end and go to the beginning. Or they switch it up. They go from the beginning all the way to the end. And it's just structure, right? Structurally different. How they tell a story. They tell it like in a flashback or whatever the fuck. The thing with these rom-coms is that women, it always everything looks all peachy. Everything always looks so peachy and perfect, and everything's gonna work out. And real life does not function that way. Real life is a much harder bitch of a shit to deal with. And if you think that rom-com somehow that's the way your life should be, like that's how you should fall in love, that's how your wedding should be, that's how you're gonna be so fucking disappointed. So fucking disappointed, because you're putting these unfair expectations on something that does not exist. It does not exist. And you're only doing yourself a disservice when you think about it this way. Just fuck rom-coms, man. I'm fucking tired of them shits. I'm fucking tired of most movies out there because they just don't make anything new, but you know, that's besides the fucking point. So moving on to the next one. This actually is a sensitive one, right? Both figuratively and literally. But there's literally under no circumstance ever should you make fun of a male's penis. Like flat down. Like never. It doesn't matter if the dude has a 10-inch dick, a 15-inch dick, a 2-inch dick, a whatever size dick. You should never ever make fun of it. And I'll take it a step further. You should never talk about his penis to anyone else. Because even if you're saying something good, right? If I find out Rosie tomorrow is talking to her best friend about, first of all, that's another red flag. You shouldn't tell your best friends about your man's penis, because women are, I don't know, that never works out well. I don't know. They may get ideas. But let's just assume that, you know, it's a new friend or whatever. They haven't met me. And somehow Rosie starts talking about, yeah, you know, Manny's penis is like small, but it's good. You know, it just fills me all up and everything, and it's good. Even if what you're saying is awesome and good, I'm gonna get super self-conscious. So, like, there is nothing in this world that makes a man self-conscious if you make a joke about their dicks. Like it is literally our kryptonite. And and the whole thing about, let me get this straight. Let me just put this out there. Every man out there suffers from something called shrinkage. And that's just the elasticity of the skin and the muscles shrink when exposed to cold temperatures. Every man goes through this, all right? It is literally, not only is it, well, so listen to what I said before. It's you making jokes about penis is kryptonite. So imagine if now something that's supposed to be your kryptonite is now just became even more embarrassing. It's like the bullseye on it, figuratively speaking, increased in size, and somehow you got to do everything you can to hide that because you don't want no one to embarrass you. It's the worst thing in the world. It's the worst thing in the world. Literally. Like, I think even if a guy forgives you, like it, I think other than maybe shitting yourself, and I think most men will choose to shit themselves in public versus getting their dicks exposed while they're shrunken with cold breeze and just shrunken. You know, it's cold out there, it's winter, and they don't want to expose their dick. They'd rather shit themselves than have that embarrassment of showing their shrunken dick. Most men will, before they undress to have sexual intercourse or something, they will stretch their penises. They will kind of like prepare it for presentation. They'll kind of like tuck the balls out, you know what I mean? Like stretch it a little bit, smack it around, make it wake up a little bit, make it a little warm. All guys do this. All guys do this. Why? It's a component of us that's super self-conscious. So ladies, anyone out there, males, whatever, don't do it. Don't do it. Even if you're trying to be cute, don't do it, because you're hurting that person. You're hurting them so bad. They're gonna be looking in the mirror the day after like, fuck you. Don't listen to her. Don't listen to him. He's a fucking asshole. They didn't mean that. Fuck them. And it hurts. It hurts so fucking bad. So please don't do it. Please don't. So, the next one's a little weird because I don't know about completely agree with this, but it says I'm not inheriting a kingdom, so I won't treat you like a princess. I think what is getting out of, and for those of you wondering, I found one of those lists that says 100 things you know about men, and I read the entire list, and I kind of agree with a lot of what they're saying. I mean, I'm not reading none of this shit, but I am taking prompts as far as like the topics is concerned, because I feel like I agree with all the topics, and I feel like this is something really interesting. But I don't agree with all of them. And I think this is one of them that I don't agree, that I'm not inheriting a kingdom, so I won't treat you like a princess. And I think what this is getting off is like every woman out there wants to be treated like a queen and like a princess. Meaning, don't worry, babe, don't open the door, I'll open it for you. And don't bend down, babe, I'll get it for you. Or you don't have to cook, I'll cook it for you. And you have that facade that you should be a queen and you should be tended to, which I get it. Everyone wants that. We want to be kings too, though. And I think that, although I don't agree with it, that, you know, in a sense that you shouldn't treat her like a princess. I think you should. I think you should treat your woman as a princess and a queen. But that doesn't mean it should be all the fucking time. And it has to be reciprocated too. Like if I start treating you like a queen here and there, you better return that shit back to me. Like you shouldn't treat me like a king. It just can't be a one-way fucking street. Because, you know, this is going back to an earlier one. We're not machines. We can't do it all. We can't fucking just, I mean, we get sick too. Like what the fuck? Like we can't just always treat you like a princess. Like that's not realistic. That's not realistic. So, you know, if it really bothers you that you feel like he's not treating you like a dandy, you're not treating you like a princess or whatever, then you don't talk about it. Like, hey, you're kind of rough. You're not treating me, you know, like a soft flower that I am, and I prefer that you don't, you know, be so rough with me or whatever. And if that's what you feel that it's gonna bother you, then yeah, don't, you know, just have a conversation about it. I mean, once again, I kind of agree with it, but at the same time, it's kind of like the way they phrased it was a little weird. So I don't know. I'm gonna leave it at that because whatever. So this concept of what's wrong with you? You were angry. No, babe, I'm good. Oh, you seem angry. You want to talk about it? No, babe, I'm good. But you seem angry. Now I am. Fuck you. Leave me the fuck alone. And this goes back to an earlier point. Just because we're quiet does not mean that we're angry. We're just thinking. And the more you keep fucking with us, the more we're going to get angry because you're fucking with us. You're interrupting our mind, with interrupting our thought patterns, you're interrupting everything what we have up there. And now we got to start over. So now we're fucking angry at you. Sometimes when we have disagreements, sometimes when we have arguments or fights, it doesn't mean that we're going to be completely angry with you. We just get frustrated and thinking like, fuck, what the fuck? And not only that, we never fucking win an argument. So it's like it's that level of fucking frustration that's like, what the fuck? I had this shit in a bag. I had the whole rationale. I had all the explanations and this shit. And somehow she just threw, well, you don't love me in there. And now all of a sudden I'm in the fucking doghouse. What the fuck do I got to do with anything? So just know that, you know, it's not just always about we're angry with you. And then you know, if you ask someone if they're angry or not, or just take their word for it. Take their word for it. You angry? Nah. All right, cool. That's it. And leave him alone for an extended amount of time. Eventually, he's gonna come back and be like, "Hey, babe, you know that shit we talked about, man. We gotta talk that shit about talk about that shit again." And it may not be angry. It just may be like thinking about it and, you know, just trying to evaluate whether or not, you know, just thinking about that shit. Like, damn. Especially if you got a really bad argument, you're sitting there like, fuck, like, what the fuck just happened? Why did she say that? And why did I say this? And blah, 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 blah. So sometimes, you know, you got to look at it from a perspective like, I need to sit down and I need to think about this shit because this shit is deep. And if we don't, and sometimes we need that time, we need that space. And if you keep asking us, if you keep hounding us, chasing us around and saying, oh, well, you need to talk. Sometimes we don't want to fucking talk. Sometimes we just want to stay quiet and think about what the fuck just happened or what the fuck is going on. And it takes us hours. It takes us days to think about this shit, process it. Sometimes we may talk to a friend about it, like, what the fuck you think about this? But you got to give us that space. You have to give us a space. So the last one I'm going to touch on is this one. I haven't experienced this in a while, right? Because I think at this point it doesn't work. But don't use sex as a weapon. Whether it's in a good way or in a bad way. Like every time he's mad at you, you're going to just throw him some pussy. It's not going to work. Long term, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. He's going to fucking still be angry with you and not call you. Okay? Because we are pretty good at the one thing I have to say that we're pretty good at separating pleasure and anger. We often don't mix them up. We will still be angry with you. We'll bust that nut and we'll still get angry at you. We'll let it slide because we're more likely to let it slide, whatever the fuck it is. But that doesn't mean we're not angry at you. It doesn't mean that we are particularly fucking angry or whatever the fuck you did or lack of doing. But using sex as a weapon is fucking evil. It's just evil and borderline diabolical. And because it doesn't mean that you don't like me. It doesn't mean that you don't want to have sex with me or you don't want to engage with me. What you're doing is the fact that you're purposely saying, well, I'm not going to fuck you. Even though I want to. Even though I like you. I'm not going to fuck you because of X, Y, Z. Because you're holding grudges. You're holding grudges and it's like, well, we already had that fight. So why the fuck why are you trying to use this as a way to, or in a different scenario, like you say something like, well, you better take out the garbage or else what? Well, so you ain't getting none. What? The fuck that got to do with one thing and the other? I don't take out the garbage, you don't give me no pussy? Like, what the fuck am I, 5? And it's very easy. Males tend to get really easy and resentful at any female who does this prolonged. Once every now and then, it's cute. Because for us, it's more like a challenge. Like, are you serious right now? You stupid. Like, you know, we might just be like, oh, she's playing around. And she's not serious. But if you get habitual with it, if you do it in a way where it's every little fucking thing. Oh, you better clean that, or else you're not getting. Or go sleep in a couch. And first of all, let me backtrack a little bit. You gonna make me sleep in a couch? the fuck? Every time I see a fucking show or a movie, and I sit there like, when a woman throws a man out of the bedroom, and they're like, oh, sleep in the couch. Oh, sleep at your mother's house. I can't fucking fathom that shit. I can't fucking fathom that shit. It's like, this shit does not calculate in my fucking brain of like, you're gonna not let me sleep in my fucking bed? Once again, am I 5 years old? What the fuck is going on here? Why? Because you're angry with me? Okay, so stay on your side of the fucking bed. Why the fuck do I gotta sleep uncomfortable? Why the fuck do I gotta lose sleep because what? You're angry with me? Since when are we holding fucking grudges? Since when is that healthy in any fucking relationship to hold grudges to that point where you don't let that person sleep comfortably on their own bed? You strip away that that right to sleep in your own bed. What the fuck? I really tried that shit with me one time. This was maybe a year or two ago. And we had a really bad fight, argument, whatever. And I kind of ignored her. We didn't talk for a couple of hours, and it got closer to bedtime. So she got ready to bed. She took a shower. She went to bed, and she locked the bedroom door. And I heard it. I heard it when she locked it. And the whole time I'm thinking to myself, like, are you kidding me? You unlock the door in the house where I pay rent here too. You know that, right? Like we both chip into this house. We both, like, this isn't not a one person show here. What right do you have to kick me out of my own bed? You have no right. And I don't care what the rationale is. I don't care what the illusion is of like why you should leave the bed or why you should leave the house. No. Because you're throwing a tantrum at that point. If you're doing that to the point where you are asking for that, you're no longer having an argument. What you're doing is you're psychologically and you're physically abusing someone. And you may say, oh, that's a kind of a stretch. No, fuck you. It's not a stress. It's not a stretch. You're psychologically abusing them because you're not allowing them to stay in their own house or sleep in their own bed. Okay? 1. 2, you're physically abusing them because it's fucking uncomfortable. And the older you get, sleeping in other people's beds or sleeping in weird positions on couches fucking hurts. It fucking hurts our backs. It doesn't let us get good sleep. It fucks with everything else. And we have to go back to work in the morning. So you are abusing your significant other by taking the argument that you had and bringing it to the next level to the point where you are taking away things from them that otherwise they would have if you didn't have that argument. And you might sit there and listen to this and be like, oh, it's a stretch and you're victimizing men. No, I'm not victimizing anyone. I'm saying if you're doing this to your partner, regardless of their sexual orientation, you are a dick. And this is what you're doing. You're taking one thing and you're somehow using psychological warfare to get back at them. As punishment. They're not your child. If you are in a situation where you have to punish your significant other, you are not in the right position or you're not even remotely right in the situation. You went from, even if you was wrong or even if you won the argument and you were right the whole time, the fact that you're psychologically abusing your partner and all to somehow get back at them, you are so fucking wrong. Because a relationship is not something about I win, you lose. That's not an I win, you lose situation. It's called a lose-lose situation because you're making them feel like shit. You think they're not going to want to make you feel like shit afterwards? You think that it's going to stop there? You're harming your partner. How is that helping you? This is supposed to be a soulmate. This is a person that's supposed to sit there and support you and help you. It's supposed to be 50-50. It's supposed to be, I help you, you help me. I scratch your back, you scratch your back. But yeah, you turn around and abusing them? And it's different. It's different in physical abuse, right? It's different if you beat the shit out of them. It's a bit different if you, whatever. But abuse is abuse. Abuse is abuse. And it's a very thin line between, you at no point you should punish your partner for an argument you both had. You have no right. You have no right to do that. You have no right. Asking a person to leave the house, go stay at your mother's house. What? So you're so angry with me that you don't want to see my face? Why the fuck are we in a relationship? That seems like your problem, not mine. Anyway, I went on a rant on that one. But that one really upsets me. That one really kind of grinds my gears a little bit because it's like, I don't like seeing that in movies. I don't like seeing that. I don't like hearing about that situation from my loved ones or friends and stuff. There's so much wrong with that. I feel like men get a really bad treatment when it comes to certain things. And most of our mistreatment comes from a psychological it mostly comes from like psychological damage that gets inflicted to us. And oftentimes we're not up on game enough to know like, oh, this is happening. This is a red flag. This is going to hurt later on in life. Because it's gonna fuck with the way I interact with other women. It's gonna interact with me how I engage with other individuals in society. And sometimes we don't understand that's happening to us, and we'll go along because we don't want to get them upset. We just want the shit to end. Because as much as women think, we don't like conflict. We don't like conflict, and we do everything just so like, okay, can we just settle this situation? Because I don't, this is prolonging too long. If this is going to make me feel better for me to sleep in a couch, I'll sleep in a couch. It's fine. But no, as the person who is asking that, you're the worst of the worst. You're the worst of the worst. And I'll die on this sword. Like, there is no reason. I don't care, man. There is no reason. There's no reason. And I'm not talking about big reasons like, oh, you physically abuse me, so I don't want you to sleep in the bed. I think you have bigger problems if that's what's happening. If there's physical abuse in a relationship, you have bigger problems than, telling someone, not sleeping in the bed. But, I digress. I'm going to end here. Okay, everyone. So that was a episode. I never remember these episodes I'm doing. I apologize for that. But once again, this is another Manpisode episode of 100 Things You Should Know About Men. And I'm not even 20 into this list. So there's going to be a lot of episodes upcoming when it comes to this. I'm going to be doing another episode this week about another thing. And I'm trying to get some guests to come speak about a few things. Just got to get some people, see who's willing to come on the show and share a little bit about themselves and share a little bit about some of the topics we want to talk about. So got some goodies on the way. Rosie is still resting, so we may have another Flash and Thoughts episode later on. We're working on a few things, so hopefully we should get something together and show everyone. In the meantime, hope you enjoy these Manpisodes. Hopefully being a little bit informed and you might enjoy it. And like always, if you are interested in suggesting anything or if you have any reactions, feel free to react in any of our channels and drop us a suggestion box in our website as well, flashandthoughts.com. And if you want to know what our social handles are, feel free to go to flashandthoughts.com and find them there. I don't know off the top of my head because it's like, who the fuck remembers that kind of shit? But it's all there, flashandthoughts.com. Everything's there. I'm pretty bummed out that we haven't had no sex expo this year, and just nothing. This last year and this year has been completely dead. So hopefully we have some stuff up, and I want to put up some pictures and stuff like that. We've grown a little bit, grown gang old out there, man. But like always, thank you for listening. Have a good day. See ya.